We're going to discuss the internal politics of the Sierra Leone People's Party, issues around the flag bearer, unity, including President Bio's New Year Day speech, among other things. In the studios, we have been joined by Moses Mambu, who is the National Publicity Secretary of the SLPP, and also Thomas Pa Ali Babadi, political analyst. Good morning, gentlemen, and welcome to the program.
Good morning.
Good morning.
It's such a pleasure, having to interview one of my mentors. For obvious reasons, I would love to start off with you, Mambu. Help us understand or describe or paint us a picture of the internal unity within the SLPP party.
Yes, so the SLPP have completed our lower level election, completed our national delegate conference. We had elected our national officers. The national officers have been inaugurated, and the national executive led by Sir Jimmy Batilo Songa, we have been working assiduously to make sure we unite the party. We as an executive stand and remain united as a force to make sure we steer the ship of leadership so that we can have an unflinching victory in 2028 coming. So we set ourselves up with specific goals, with clear objectives. One, to make sure we bring the base together, to make sure we energize the base, to make sure we unite all parties, because during the lower level elections of the SLPP, it's always elections. There will be little problems here and there. We cannot shy away from that, because even in your family, there will be a time when you have some issues. But what we did speedily was to quickly put together a team to address those issues. In our last NEC meeting, the Commissioner for NACSA, the Right Ambassador Domaina, was appointed and approved by NEC to serve as the Peace and Reconciliation Committee Chairman, who was charged with the responsibility to mobilize, coordinate, and move within various stratas of our party to make sure we unite the party. Because for us in the SLPP, all we need to win any democratic, free, fair elections in Sierra Leone is for us to stay together. It's for the base to stay together. History has shown us that when the SLPP is together, there's no democratic elections in Sierra Leone that will be above our reach. But the same history have told us that when the SLPP is not together, when we are divided, when we have breakaways, it is always at the detriment of the SLPP. So we know that, we have learned from that. There are recent histories that you yourself as journalists, you know about, where the SLPP was divided as a result of leadership struggle. We know what happened. The SLPP learned from that. They came back together in 2018. We saw what happened. In 2023, they remained together. So for us as a party, everybody within the SLPP understand the logic of remaining peaceful, remaining together. So under the leadership of President Bio, who is the leader, and Sir Jimmy Batilo Songa, who is the chairman, we first united the national executive. We're together, speaking on the same plate, because those who gave us their votes, the delegates who gave us the responsibility as a national executive to steer the ship. The outgoing executive won 2 elections for the party. So they gave us specific assignments as a national executive to make sure we win the 2028 elections. We are going to make history, but also break records. So as a party, as a national executive, we are dogging, we focus on that assignment as a national executive to make sure we do everything within the democratic space provided for by our constitution, that's the party, and the national constitution, Sierra Leone, to make sure we win the 2028 elections on a first ballot.
Maybe as a way to link in my next question, you did mention about the challenges, or some of the challenges that the party has been facing, and how you guys have been able to address some of those challenges internally. Let me draw your attention to what happened quite recently before the end of the year at the party headquarters, where the First Lady was there, yourself, and also I think it was Paran, you know, the issue where they wanted to have, or held the women's, I think it was the women's event or something of that sort. And, you know, the First Lady and other party members couldn't access the main premises. How is the APC,
SLPP.
Sorry, I was SLPP, sorry, handling those internal issues? And is this as a way to show that, you know, there's sort of like a growing factionalism within the SLPP party?
Well, no, that was an oversight and overzealousness by some party supporters, because, as I said, the SLPP is building up to its flag bearer race, and it's understandable that party supporters have already, within their minds and their activities, taken sides with certain people. So at certain quarters, party supporters, grassroots supporters, may act above the speculated regulations and laws within the party, which is understandable. That's why that was an unfortunate incident which we addressed. So the chairman, we set up a committee, we investigated those who were involved, that were stationed at the party office, that those acts were acts out of the party office by the national executive. So for us, the SLPP is a disciplined party. It's a very big organization, we understand, with a membership and sympathizers of about 3.9 million. So to coordinate and effectively deal with such a number is always sometimes challenging, but it's not above us, because the SLPP operates with rules and regulations. As I said, it's understandable. This is a very big family. There are times we can have problems. It's understandable. But what we're not going to do this time, building up to who lead the SLPP into victory in 2028, are three things. Number one, we're not going to allow this time anybody's individual interest to supersede the interest of the majority of the party. Number two, we are going to coordinate effectively to make sure we handle the processes and the events of the flag bearer contest in a transparent, free and fair manner, so that every supporter, everybody who have interest to run for flag bearer for the SLPP will have the access, as long as they meet all the requirements stated by the Constitution, or those NEC will be putting out, will be approving. As long as they meet all of those, the space will be created for them to participate, which is most important. We are going into this race to get our next leader. We want to be united as we do that. We want to make sure those who are vying, those are committed to the ideals, the ideology of SLPP, which is democracy, internal democracy, contest. When you lose, you stay within the party. Loyalty to the party. You cannot just say, I'm in SLPP only when I win. You must be SLPP even when you lose. You must be in SLPP even when the space was created for you, but you are not able to make it today. It doesn't mean if you are not able to make it today to the leadership, you cannot make it tomorrow. So what we want to do, we've learned from 2005. So to that's what brought me to my third point, that we're going to make sure we unite. Everybody that wants to lead the SLPP will unite. We speak with one voice. It is challenging because sometimes it's not the leaders themselves, but the overzealous supporters, you understand, sometimes can act overboard because they are overzealous. They want their candidates to win. They have given their loyalties to their candidates. It's understandable. That is democracy, even developed democracy. But we don't want that to result in violence. We don't want that to result in disunity that will lead to somebody leaving at the end of the process. That's why you see our lower level process were heated. It's understandable. We went to Bintu Mani, even with the heat, went to Bintumani, we elected our national officers. At the end of the day, we had a dance at Bintumani. So sometimes you can go into a contest fiercely, determined to win with your supporters, your backing, you've spent money. But if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, God Almighty, did not sanction you to be the leader or to win at that particular point, you must understand it's democracy. Right. In democracy, somebody have to win and somebody have to lose. What make you a party loyalist? What makes you a Democrat is when you lose, you accept that I lose, you dust yourself up, and then look at where you went wrong. Address those areas where you went wrong, and then prepare for the next battle ahead. So for us in the SLPP, we are aiming at the ball. This executive, we are dogging, we are determined, we are very focused. Nobody, we're not going to allow nobody to distract the spirit of the national executive, to distract the assignment that the delegate gave to us, which is to win the 2028 elections on first ballot.
Right.
That is something we're determined to do. We're not backing down from it. So anybody or a group of people within the party that we identify will stop us from achieving that, we will try to bring them together. But if cannot, we'll interpret the laws that governs the party to make sure we are all together and focus on 2028. Because we want to make sure the gains that we have made already, we sustain them and continue to move Sierra Leone forward.
You've spoken quite a lot about unity. You'd agree with me that, you know, for unity to thrive in an environment, whether a political setting or not, all factions, all parties will want to be seen, will want to be heard, and will require a fair treatment.
Yes.
I am concerned with 4 key areas within the Sierra Leone People's Party. As we look at it now, even though one might say these are unofficial slogans, but they are tied with the Sierra Leone People's Party. You have slogans like radical inclusion. You have slogans like Ebemabi. And they are tied within the very core and fabric of the Sierra Leone People's Party. Let's look at these 4 key undercurrents. Is there currently a succession anxiety within the SLPP, wherein even though it's not been officially announced, but you look at the party alignment, whether between lower levels or whether between party executives themselves, and you start seeing where someone's allegiance will be thrown at the end of the day. And also there is also the issue of perceived inner circle politics within the SLPP itself. We can't deny that. We know certain people belong to certain ideology even within the SLPP. And then also there has been the concern of grassroots versus the elite tension. Some people have seen themselves as not being involved within the party. And also we have the issue of regional and loyalty balance within the SLPP. If we look at those 4 key undercurrents and look at the current trend of the slogans we're hearing within the SLPP, shouldn't this be a concern that even with the executive and even with the stand belief you've shown that you will take, wouldn't this be a problem for you? You look at the radical inclusion, Egbema, and all those slangs, we not agree, and we are radicals. Isn't this a concern for the?
It's not a concern. Is going on within. We understand the jargons, the teams. We understand the internal dynamics. That's what makes us SLPP. We are a democratic party, internally and externally. So 2 things I want to allay your fears in. 1, all those nomenclatures you have assigned to those groups within the SLPP, all of them have one objective. They are aiming at one thing. That is to make sure we have the right candidates that can give us first round winning in 2028. That's the goal. It's not that when you say radical inclusion, they are trying to bring APC to power, or when you say Ebema, they are trying to bring APC to power. No, they have one objective. So for us as an executive, we look at the bigger picture. There are things bigger than what is happening now. What is happening is time bound. We know the moment we have our flag bearer, all of those names we are hearing will melt down to a one bigger name, which will be our campaign mantra, our manifesto for 2028. So all of those little names will absorb themselves into that one big basket of a name which we'll use as our identity for 2028. So what is happening now is the SLPP, because we've done so much for Sierra Leone, because we have delivered so much and will continue to deliver for this country, we are not such of materials. We have a lot of people who can effectively lead Sierra Leone to the next chapter, as President Bio said in his New Year speech, right? As he said in his New Year speech, we have stabilized the country in every aspect. 2026 is now to take the flight off. So in the SLPP, because we have so much materials to lead Sierra Leone, people who have the track record internally and externally, they have grassroots supporters, grassroots people who believe that it should be you, it should be Mambu, it should be him in 2028. That is okay. That is understandable. The only thing as an executive led by Sajimi Batilosonga we're saying to everybody now is President Julius Maada Bio, the leader of SLPP, have set the tone for 2026. We have a target. When it gets to politics, and we'll get to that point. But for now, we have a target. The tone have been set on the 1st of January 2026 by His Excellency, the President, for both the country and the party. And this is what he said, which we want every SLPP supporter to read this every day, put it in their mind, and be interpreting it every day as we move. And I will quote, the President said, "We have worked to stabilize our nation. Now we must use the stability to deliver results. This must be a year of action where plans translate into real improvements in people's lives." This is the agenda of the SLPP. This is the 2026 agenda of the National Executive of the SLPP, to support His Excellency to make sure the stability we've gained throughout the years, especially in 2025, we translate them now in 2026 in real actionable activities that will change the lives of people. We have had disappointing years based on factors that were not created by the government or the party or the people, but global factors. Now those global factors are coming down. 2025, we saw in Sierra Leone, for the first time in many years, you went to the bank in December, there were no queues for money. You went to the bank, before this time you realized when we had economic problems. So you go to the bank, you say, "Oh, I account for 10,000. They will say, "No, now 2,000 will give." Not so. But in 2025, this holiday period, you saw, nobody said I was not paid. Nobody said I went to the bank for my money was not available. The dollar the exchange rate have stabilized. So the economy is now stabilized. Right. So for now, we're not talking about flag bearer. However, people are aiming. For now, people are aiming, but at the same time, we're human beings. People know, even if SLPP is not talking about flag bearer, they know President Bio term ends in 2028. They know that, and they know we're going to have new leaders. So in as much as we push, there are still supporters, grassroots members, well-wishers, sympathizers, who are still pushing public narratives that is going to be Mambu. You know what I mean? It's going to be her. It's going to be you in 2028. This is our slogan. This is it. For the SLPP,
maybe just quickly before Mattia comes in, you did mention about the economy is stabilized. Are you saying that for yourself or on behalf of the people of Sierra Leone?
On behalf of the people of Sierra Leone, I can tell you now today, the COVID era, coming out of the COVID era where our economy was, that the global pandemic shattered every country's economy. I can safely tell you today that with the work that have been put in by this government, the SLPP government, led by all institutions, the work we've put in today, our economy is stabilized. What we're working on now in 2026, in as much as the economy have stabilized, is to take it off. That is, we continue to drive down prices. Inflation is now in single digits. We'll continue to drive down prices. Remember, when the coronavirus hit, rice went up to 1.2, 1.3 million, right? Today is 620. So we are going to continue to drive down prices of commodities
Right.
to make it affordable for citizens.
Right.
We are going to make sure we invest in
Mr. Mambu,
let's bring in Babadi.
Mr. Babadi.
Yeah.
Mr. Babadi, apologies. I know you've been listening. I want to double the questions, largely pregnated questions. Now, I know you've heard all what Mr. Mambu has said, but historically in this country, you know, governing parties have struggled with succession. The SLPP being one, they struggled with succession in the 1960s, transferring power from Milty Magai to Albert Magai. They struggled after 2007 with Bakaba and Solomon Berewa. And we now have this issue at hand. The first question to that is, are you seeing the early warning signs from what the SLPP has previously done in those elections? That's the first question. Now, secondly, let's look at the body language of His Excellency the President. You know, one will say the silence, you know, on succession. Is that what is brewing this tension or these factions that we're hearing? And lastly, as a political analyst, do you think SLPP is, you know, more divided, or it's actually a unified party from what they are saying, or is more divided from your observation?
It's quite interesting, like you said, impregnated questions. We're looking at the unity of a political party, either in governance or in opposition. We're looking at what happened to these two political parties before independence, after independence, coming forward now. Oh, those always think it predates independence. You know, SLPP. 57, they came into governance, dominating the parliament. That was down here at George Street, Minister of Finance building, downstairs if you go there. When I was doing my research 2012, you know, you see my thesis, you see specific things that were happening, you know, within that place. How the Lord Chief Justice of England was in control of Sierra Leone, those things, you know, and the Governor General also. But I want to just, like what he just mentioned, that's my niche. Economics, economy justice. You know, I get financing, but I like economics because of what is happening in West Africa. Ghana has moved, Senegal has gone ahead, Sierra Leone is still grappling. Our economy is on life support. I wonder what Mr. Moses is saying to the public. Our economy now is on life support. The IMF and the World Bank and everything, all of them that are peer reviewing this China, America, Germany have said so. I wonder where this is coming in from. However, that is not the issue now, but it can be for another discourse. Internal party dispute resolution mechanism. Why am I talking here about SLPP? It's not my business. I'm not a member of the SLPP, and I can never be a member of the SLPP. However, I'm called to discuss on this issue, and the issue is about internal party dispute resolution mechanisms that could be applied and handle themselves internally, discreetly and with candor. What is happening now? Lima, we've seen Musa Tarawali, we've seen our First Lady, we've seen the problems around them. Who is responsible internally within the party? Is it the Elders Council, or is it the NEC, or who is responsible to bring these people together and say, please do. We are going ahead to have another election, and we don't want this kind of squabble that is happening within us. Can we sit and discuss? Everywhere humans are gathered, be it white, colored, even the 15th century Japanese civilization, you had problems with them. Who we are referring to the West, you call it England, the Germany, the America, the Canada, they were referring to them as barbarian civilization. But now, the West is the most civilized nation in the world. They have problems. They still have their problems. Wherever humans are gathered as a project person, problems ensued. But how do you handle that problem is the question. What kind of techniques are you going to use to handle the problem? is the other question.
From your political lens, is the SLPP handling it better or fine?
I don't know, but he's saying yes, but I don't know. However, for me, my spectacle, I don't think it's been handled properly. It's now being handled. One, Leman challenged. You had his utterances on Liberty TV, on Truth Media, what have you. You've had him clearly talking about what is happening within the party and the threat that is coming to him. It's Lima, and I'll quote him verbatim. Yeah? How is that being handled? There should be an internal political party dynamics to handle such problems. He was occupying this seat. Now he's out, going out for a higher position. Listen to his utterances. Those utterances are not good at all. They are not good for a sitting political party. I imagine, I'm just thinking, in 2016, 17, we were discussing the SLPP here in opposition. We were talking about the SLPP in opposition. And I made my utterances genuinely, not to curry favor. I don't believe in brown envelope. So I made my position clearly. Mr. Punto,
yeah.
By the Supreme Court judgment that I should be the leader of this. But I'm dropping behind. I'm the chairman, go back as deputy chairman. Let this gentleman, this young man, come in front. I was an escrow. It was a very serious problem, 2004-5. And I was just leaving uni. It was during the census period, which I was one of the enumerators. So it was settled. And I said, look at this. This man was this. He contested. Look at his percentage. What will happen next? Genuinely. Can you please give this gentleman a time or a chance? That was my utterance, 2017, on AYB television here. Now, going forward, and today, you see what is happening. That is so scary. Very, very scary. Big head, who cannot be controlled like that, came out very clearly. I saw it on, I read this 2 a.m. I was browsing through my notes because I have to take exams. You look at what is happening. Madam First Lady is blasting, booing so deliberately against Mr. Musa Tarawali, honorable Mr. Musa Tarawali. I had to learn that Mr. Musa Tarawali was honorable member of Parliament 2002-2007. He was minister of resident minister. He later became internal affairs minister and minister of lands. He has never been in a position since 1996. Never been in a position. So I started wondering, some street sense, some street sense, not to book sense for cog and pass. People are different. So that is the Musa Tarawali type. And so Musa Tarawali responded. I saw the response and it was like, wow, what is happening between these two big votes? This is not a candidate, but this is a candidate. Why you want to tear apart? Like you advised the SLPP in 2017. I will say this here. There are records to the effect, there are facts to the effect, evidence to the effect. Telling these guys, if you're going, go. But don't make specific utterances against a candidate vying for a seat of presidency. It will haunt you one day. Now I have seen, and we've so seen, there is a little witness here, that those utterances, they're tantamount to something extra, but you know, some people forgive, so these are politics, no, go ahead. But it will haunt you whilst you're making statements, utterances that are inimical to that individual who's vying for that seat. Don't do that. We've seen people losing internal political party elections. Cannot be PR, cannot be secretary. We are even afraid because of the utterances in 2017, KKY and the Pauper faction. And so it should not continue in that way. Decency. That's what I'm saying. I will not be a politician. My next step is to go to the IMF to work. But politics in Senegal, no. No decency at the moment. And so they should be careful how they make utterances against each other.
So let me have your thoughts on this with regards to what you're saying. Would you say what we're seeing now should be considered as normal politics, normal party politics, or signs of deeper structural problems?
I don't think it's a normal party problem. However, you can boo at the individual, but you bring in things, you know, that I mean, hidden things. You can't answer. You go DCP, you go NCP, you go waiting and call. You know, that man is vying for a big seat. Secondly, you are not. You are the First Lady of the Republic of Sierra Leone. So it's not normal. Sianyama Kuma was never involved in the internal party politics of the APC. Mami Toka, is it Pachakaba? Pachakaba never get involved. What he was doing, I remember I was just in lower 6, 1996. Tizakaba was coming, just after my O levels. I saw Mami Kaba and Pakaba in Cambia.
But Mr. Babadi, one will argue that times have changed.
Was not involved in that. Go to Gloria Strasser, who was the youngest first lady ever. 23, 24, she was first lady. She comported herself.
But you left IJ Kaba.
You know? No, IJ Kaba got married after.
Yeah, but she was a women's leader for SLPP.
You know, he was never involved.
But one may argue that times have changed. Back then, women didn't have the opportunity they have now. I mean, there is a constitutional review going on for 30% quota. Yeah. Women have been campaigning for 30%. It now means more voice for women. Yeah. So one might argue on the contrary that if you see the First Lady, she has her right to voice her views, needless or baseless on the fact that she's with the president. I mean, we didn't have this right or openness for women back then in the early 2000s, or even before or after the elections immediately.
Thank you very much. Which woman? Is it on gender inclusivity? Is it on working environment? What is that? Yes, in politics, fine. But at that level, let's be mindful. Fatima Marabiyo, Mrs. I admire him for specific reasons. Now, she's a kind of charming person. One. Number two, she's eloquent. She can speak, articulate issues. But to that level, no. That should be stopped. You had the response of Mr. Tawali. He said, if a man not controller, I quote, if a man not controller, they will control the political space. It's bad. It's bad. Now she's still in others where these were female politicians.
But Mambu has assured that these are things that will be dealt with inter-party, and they will be handled. So that's why I was asking, do you think it will be handled before 2028?
Well, I'm not a member of the SLPP.
No, but you've seen the previous political culture of the SLPP. Before now, you saw what happened between Charles Magai and Solomon Berewa. You saw also what happened within the APC as well, if we want to open the broadened space. But within the SLPP, you saw also what happened between Kane Kolo-Imkela and now the president. Yeah. So the patterns are the same, even though the political players are now different. Yeah. So do you think they will have that under control before 2028?
Hopeful. Hope so. The players now are different. The triggers,
yes,
from where it's coming from, different completely. This was Yumkela going for the presidency from Unido coming. He wanted to become the next kind of person. Madam Fatma is not going for any position, by the way.
Oh, but that has not been made clear yet.
I'm coming. No, she will not be going.
That has not been made clear yet.
You cannot determine that.
Identified before inauguration.
No, but it has not been made clear. That's why I read earlier that the party is silent for now.
Yes, the party might be silent, and I'm hopeful that they will handle the problem internally soonest, especially the one that has to do with a leading presidential candidate, a presidential candidate called Musa Tarawale, who served in various positions. And maybe he might not be educated like some of us, but he is street smart. Very intelligent guy. So you had his complaint. You had his grumbling. It's not me. He was the one talking. I listened to it. till 3 a.m. this morning.
How would you want the SLPP to handle situations like these?
They might have their internal party dynamics. How they have a party culture, of course. Every other political party have a culture, they have a tradition, they have an approach, and they have eldership to handle these issues.
Are you calling on the elders to handle the same?
Samabaya. You had the Samabaya, a 90+ years old fellow, my uncle's classmate at both school, Dr. Tigika Kagbo. You know, Baba is still strong, he's still working, he's still typing. We stay very close. What happened? When Senge, the chief minister now, was trying to do certain things about the constitution of the SLPP, he wrote a note and sent it out. Not internally, he sent it out and said, please, you revive. I'm a politician. I was a politician. I've served every other government in this country. Please, you revive. And you cannot be the player and the referee. So he told him, step aside, let others go ahead. That was a frank statement, frank write-up. But if you say, no, let's just keep our mouth shut, and the opposition, let me tell them, is so powerful in Sierra Leone that they even say, even the tripartite report and the agreement for national unity, the EU report and everything is saying that there was no clear winner in the first round, and that even the opposition was leading. So they have to be careful.
Permit me to come.
How they handle themselves.
Permit me to come in a bit. We have a wide range of things to discuss. You know, not just about the unity and that of also the issues within the SLPP party, but also in relation to the President's New Year's message. Now, from a political analyst standpoint, how do you assess the President's New Year's speech? More so when he was emphasizing on the fact that this year is a year of action. It's pretty clear, as Mambu rightfully mentioned, that the economy of this country is stabilized and they're intending to move beyond just being stable. How do you assess it? Is it symbolic? Is it political? Or what's to say?
Well, it's not even political statement. Politics goes with the economics. Developed economics, there are macroeconomic fundamentals that teach you that this country's economy is growing or not growing. There are basic macroeconomic fundamentals. Those macroeconomic fundamentals, they have indicators. Those indicators, you have almost 12 indicators. I see people are looking at 3 or 4 indicators. There are basic macroeconomic. In every free market, in every economy, like Sierra Leone's economy, we are signatory to the WTO of 1990. So every economy should be a free market economy. The best economies in the world are America, China. You come into Russia, Germany, in Europe, France. So if you're talking that your economy is growing, your economy is stabilized, it's challenging. However, let me just dog my hat to them. That I'm hopeful that before this week ends, or before the month ends, they will be able to bring Lima, Musa Tarawali, and Madam First Lady to sit at the same table and take lunch or take dinner.
Why?
I'm hopeful. That's what I'm thinking from.
So why are you looking forward to that?
Yes, let them internally stabilize themselves, because when a political party internally is stable, in governance, it's a challenge. It's a very big challenge. Now, going forward with the economy, they've passed the annual budget. I'm an accountant, 23 years now ago. But I did not practice much. I was interning in one bank, now called Vista Bank, and then later I came to Ayan, where I practiced activism. I left, but I still crack statistics and mathematics and accounting. However, let me just give my own take on the economy and what the IMF and World Bank report are saying. My phone is not with me. I will have read verbatim what the IMF is saying, the progression, the projection. Mr. Bio, Brigadier retired, inherited 3.5% GDP growth from Anes Baikoma. The same goes to Anes Kuma inheriting that from Tijan Kaba. And there was $1.6 billion external debt from Pakaba, despite the epic, every other country, they waived that debt, but we still had $1.6 billion external debt. Read the Pakaba's handing over note that he read in Parliament 2007. Read Anes Kuma's note that he read in Parliament 2017, or I think it's 17. Yes, 3 months to elections. Those are in the public domain, and it is published by Awoko, Times newspaper, etc., etc. Read them, you will come back to me and have the figures of it.
Right.
Now, and there was a public debate, an inquiry into that when the elections, after elections, the leader of the majority party and chair of the bar documents our GDP growth in 7 years 3.5, 4%, 4.5, according to the IMF for one projection. That was the time because of the COVID, yes, that I agree. And this statement that is made by Mr. President was made immediately after the COVID. And he said, time for action. IMF, World Bank, the EU, always supporting him. What happened? We don't know. What happened? We don't know. Is it because...
But the president has now labeled 2026 a year of action.
That was the statement in 2000, I think after the COVID, immediately after COVID or before COVID, something like that. He said, time for action. I said, oh, this is coming to perform now.
And now is the year of action. Do you see that performance happening?
What sort of actions are going to be taken on the economy? We've not invested heavily on the economy yet. There has been no progressive growth, no economic growth being taken in the last 3 or 2 years or 4 years of Mr. President.
Right, let me hold you there a bit. No, let me hold you. I would love for Mambu to respond to that.
I'll ask you. 2 plus 2 is how much?
Generally 4 under mathematics.
Simple.
So let me bring in.
Argue the
Let me bring in Mambu. Mambu, the president labeled 2026 as a year of action, and it should be focused on delivery. How does the party define success for the year 2026, and what are the top 3 variables that Sierra Leoneans should look out for to say the president labeled 2026 January that this is a year of action, and in December, in the next 11 months, indeed we've seen that this is a year of action. Rightly so, Babadi is skeptical and has been skeptical since after the COVID-19 that the president said it was time for action. And now we are still saying a year of action in 2026.
Okay, so when we come to the public to educate Sierra Leoneans, we don't have to be sentimental. We don't need to be emotional. And we also need to have the facts right before you come to the public. When you have the facts right, people will not label you that you are coming from a particular background or standpoint. And that is important for our society to be enlightened and follow the truth, not fiction. When I sit here and the SLPP government, we don't talk fiction, we talk fact. If I tell you, say, we are sleeping awake this morning, I don't eat before I care, not fact. I know the sugar quota. So for we in the SLPP, we state fact. But before I get to the economy, let me just clarify a few things he said, and you tried to lead him on for him to clarify proper. I noticed he mentioned all the other first ladies, but refused to mention IJ Kaba, for example, who have been a women's leader for SLPP, who was married. I'm coming. IJ Kaba was the first lady.
She was the first lady.
No, I'm coming.
She was married
after. Please, I'm coming. She was involved in the politics of SLPP.
Yes, true.
These are different times. We in the SLPP believe to empower women, and to a very large extent, it is one of the legacies President Bio will leave with the women of Sierra Leone, which is the GIWI Act, the Sexual Offences Act, the Domestic Violence Act. Today, under President Bio, Women can now acquire their own lands and properties. Women now have the liberty to go at the highest heights that they can be. It was in this country when Zainab Bangua went for the UN position she's occupying now, even though she was from the APC. President Bio recommended her. That's how much he believed, the SLPP government believed in women's empowerment. President Bio appointed a female in 2012 as the running mate from Port Loko. You remember that, right? Mm-hmm. He did that. So the track record of President Bio in empowering women is unmatched. Today, and I also noticed when he spoke about watching Musa Tawali's video the whole night, he never mentioned that I also watched Fatima's video respond the whole night. I don't know whether he have seen that. So it's better for you to make a credible public judgment. It is important to listen to both sides. Mm-hmm. You've heard Musa. He spent whole night listening to Musa. Then I think he needs to spend this whole day watching Fatima, so that then he can now comparatively draw a comparative analysis between the two, who is wrong or who is right. Secondly, Fatima Bio have been a beacon of joy for women in Sierra Leone and outside. For the first time in our history, we have a first lady who is the president for all first ladies in Africa. She has broken barriers. We have a first lady for the first time who physically implements programs. Look at the hospital at 34, just by her making, her friends, begging outsiders, people. She's putting up 600-bed hospital by herself. No money from government, just her well-wishers and friends. So Fatima occupies a unique position in our Sierra Leone political history. And it is her right, just like Sylvia Blyden. You heard a few days ago about Yvonne Akisoya, the mayor of Freetown. He never mentioned about them.
Zainab Sharif.
And also Zainab Sharif. Zainab Sharif, who want to close Fabe College. I don't know, because she said FBC. Let me not say Fabe College, because FBC can mean different things. Zainab Sharif, she never mentioned. They all said they want to lead Sierra Leone because of the opportunities the SLPP government have brought to women. So for me, let us be very careful. Internal politics, Fatima Bio is a politician. Her husband is a politician. She's a member of SLPP. She has the liberty to practice politics within the SLPP or within Sierra Leone. Nothing is limiting her. Nothing is limiting any woman. It is the goal of SLPP, and SLPP have demonstrated that in the past by making sure we had women as our running mate in 2012 from Port Loko. We did that. So for us, we want to give, and we will continue to open up the space for young people. It is us who break the history in this country of having the youngest cabinet under 40 years. Majority of our cabinet members are under the age of 40, which is a novelty in the world. It has not been seen in any places in the world. So when we come to the public, let us make sure we be very careful and make sure we are objective in addressing the issues. Yes, there are challenges within the SLPP. You understand? No man is an island. No man stands alone. I cannot tell you that SLPP is all rosy. No. It is an institution that has a membership and followership of about 3.9 million people. So managing such a large group requires patience, requires courage, and Trump to power in America, where America's citizens, the greatest economy in the world, the richest country on planet Earth, was saying, the people were saying, we are not feeling the economy. The inflation is too high. You understand? The inflation is too high. When we go to buy eggs, it's too expensive. So we need a change. So economies all over the world, it's a very complex situation. You don't address it with emotions. You understand? You don't address it with fictions. It has figures. You talk about facts. Now let me give him the fact. First, he said our economy is on life support. I don't know whether he was talking about the Aneskoma economy.
Are the numbers different now?
Of course. I don't know if he was talking about the Aneskoma economy in 2014, 15, 16, 17. I don't know if that is the economy. Because when they say economy is on life support, it means three things. One, you cannot service your debt. We met more than 1 trillion local debts, including those they owe Alimu for the construction of roads in Kabbalah. We paid that debt off. We met billions of debts to Gento, which we paid. So if you are running an economy on life support, you cannot do that. Second, if you are running an economy on life support, you will not be able to add new workers to the government wage bill. As I sit here, just 2025, we have added 3,000 new nurses to the wage bill, invading every space. So everybody will draw from all the big economic realities that affect globally. What happened? India, Pakistan, they were producing rice. They were producing rice at a higher tone. You understand? Reduced drastically. India alone, during the coronavirus, before the corona, India was producing 25 million metric tons of rice in 3 months. They were reduced to 1 million, which means in economy, when supply overweighs the demand, what happens? There's scarcity. And when there is scarcity, what happens? Prices goes up. So that's what affected the mechanism. But what President Bio did that is unique. You saw during coronavirus, Liberia, rice. Liberia were queuing line for rice. Even though they were buying a bag of rice in Liberia. I was there, I went there. $100. It was still scarce. What President Bio did effectively in Sierra Leone, the SLPP government, was to make sure, even though the global commodity prices have shot up, not in our own making, but because of the global supply chain mechanisms have erupted, we ensured President Bio pumped $20 million into the economy by making sure we give hard cash, real capital to investors, importers, to make sure even though the commodity is expensive, but let's ensure the commodity is on ground. That is one. Let me come to him now when he said,
we are short of time. I would want...
No, I really need time to educate because I'm here today with an economics. I'm a social political scientist. So maybe I will put again my economics brain to educate our economics in the studio. Now, last year...
I'm not an economist.
I'm coming. Last year...
An accountant is...
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Last year, WFP pulled a report. You know, the things that bothered me on some activists is that when something is bad, when international communities pull a report that is good for the government, they never talk about it. They never praise the government. But when it's the same international community pull a report that is negative, you see them jumping at it. WFP pulled a report in 2024 where they stated that 39% of the rice they are buying for refugees in Sierra Leone is now being procured in country. And that same report shows that 13% Sierra Leone have reduced importation of rice by 13%, saving Sierra Leone $13.5 million annually. It was in that report. You never heard it from any activists. Nobody spoke about it. That is economic reality. Before 2016, 2017, we saw we saw Sarah Utai sold for 13 million by the Ernest Koroma government and his nephew John Sisi. We saw Africa Minerals wrap up. We saw London Mining wrapped up. Those companies had accumulatively about 3,000 to 4,000 workers. They wrapped it up. We inherited that body. Today, we have brought 5 new mining companies with a rollover of staff capacity of about 6,000. Which cuts across Sierra Leone. That is economic stability. Today, our domestic revenue mobilization have jumped. When we took over power, our domestic revenue mobilization was 14%. Today, our domestic revenue mobilization is 61.2%. We are even working to improve it more. Are we there yet? No. 2-3 years still into our power. We have, if you follow the news, EU, just a few weeks ago, in December, EU released $13 million. Which is a direct budgetary support to our fiscal policy in this country. IMF did their extended credit facility review. We passed it. They have projected that Sierra Leone will qualify again in 2026 for more extended credit facility. World Bank did their review with Sierra Leone. We passed the World Bank reviews. There are challenges in the economy. Yes, we are not oblivious of that fact that there are no challenges with the economy. The MCC is back on track. Sierra Leone have passed for the compact. $480 million is in reach. So when President Bio and the SLPP government say our economy have stabilized, we have gone through the phase of corona, where prices of rice alone, we are all sitting here. Rice went to 1.2, 1.3 million, right? People were shouting all over. Dollar went to as far as 3.5, 4 million. Today, dollar is within 2.350 to 360 for over 2 years now. That is stability in itself, right? Rice went to 1.2, 1.3 million. Today, rice is 620,000 for bag. What led to that?
Right.
It's not magic.
Those are the numbers.
In the past, Sierra Leone is used to call baki baka. Anything that goes up.
Do you still think from his numbers,
for us, there are challenges we're working on.
We barely have 5 more minutes.
I wanted to touch on the fields alone.
Apologies, Mambu. We barely have 5 minutes. Let's give that 5 minutes to Babadi to respond.
No, you don't have to, because I want to
with
use
the
these 5
numbers,
minutes
with
to
the numbers given by Mr. Mambu. Do you still think the economy is on life support?
Beyond life support, in fact.
So we are dying.
Let me use that word.
Yes.
Let me use that word. Look at the IMF indicators. Look at the IMF statement. It's not me.
Yes. Give us the numbers. He's giving his own number.
Yes. 2023. Actual approximately 3.4% growth in the real GDP. 2024. Estimated around 4.0% growth according to the IMF and World Bank.
So there was a growth from 3 to 4 in 2023 and 2024.
Yes.
And Mambu might be right that there was a growth.
See what is happening here. 2025 projection expected to pick up further to about 4.5%. 4.4% now? They are approximating. IMF notes growth of 5.7% in 2023, showing to about 4.0% in 2024, and then rebounding to 4.5% in 2025. Now, the World Bank reports similar figures. Growth eased from 5.7% in 2023 to an estimated 4.0% in 2024. So it goes on and on and on. When you're talking about economy, it is the cost curves. All of us read economics. The generic subject. It's the cost curves.
But we'll be doing well.
Hold on. It's the cost
We'll be doing
curves.
well with the cost curves.
How can you do well when in 2017?
Just let him
How can you do well in
make his
2017?
point.
You have rice at 650, 700. Rice rose up to that.
So you're
Because
saying
supply
it's not
chain
reflecting on the ordinary lives of Sierra Leoneans.
Was 650, 700. How much is the US dollar now? Inflation rate, we were shouting at Anescoma. The Renaissance movement came out. Hold on.
Anescoma had no problem. Anescoma had no problem.
The Renaissance movement came out because of the inflation rate of 9.7%. Now, coming back to the US dollar. The US dollar moved from 350, 400 to 600 in just a year because of the Ebola. The Renaissance came out and said, no, it was wrong. We supported it. And I was here. Why now? If I'm saying this now, that means I'm not neutral, I'm not objective, I'm not independent.
No, you're not being. Because there are underlying factors that
you're saying the growth is not reflective on the ordinary Sierra Leonean. Is that what you're saying?
To go back to the markets. In economics, we have what's called the market forces of demand and supply. These are the issues that dictate the pace within the market structures. Yeah? Go to those market women and ask for a product. Come back after 3 days or 4 days. Go back. You see the increase. There is serious inflation.
So let's talk of rice, for
because you have
example.
price index. You see how bad it is. Look at our GDP growth. It's still not 5%. Well, I want to ask this question, Mr. Mambu. APC, then we get magic. From 3.5% per capita to 7% in 3 years. In 4 years, they had 9.7% GDP growth. It was reported by the IMF and World Bank. They came here. And I was studying in China 2012.
So
You know what happened? We argued with these Tanzanians and Ghanaians about our economy. The Liberian was there supporting us, the Sierra Leoneans. And then that was an issue. The Chinese guy who speaks very good English.
let me tell you what happened.
Discussing. Now, we went into our own. By then it was Akufo-Addo also in Ghana. You cannot compare Sierra Leone GDP growth in 2012-13 of 12%. How much percent do we have now? 7 years. 4.3, 4.4, 5. Why not 8, 9? With all the structures that we have. The cash policy. First of all, they zeroed the Leones, which led Sierra Leone to pay almost $67 million, which was wrong. It's not in sync with our fiscal policy and our cash policy. Look at our monetary policy. Read them and understand them. Look at what is happening there. Look at the GDP. This is all the influencing factors. There are limiting factors to every indicator. That we agree. Even in America, they're having problems with that. But however, look, you see an economy, any economy that joke with the energy sector, you fail. Digital, AI, don't joke with the energy sector. Now we are having Christmas lights. 2 of us, maybe using generators, so he has money. But some people cannot. Yeah. So any economy that wants to grow, improve on your energy, improve on the market structures and the forces that affect demand and supply, you can stabilize price at that level.
Okay.
However,
So,
what you do is,
gentlemen, apologies have been communicated.
that's
so
why I said
by my producer.
Can we sell this?
Yes, we'll find time to discuss the technical issues around the economy.
Their people.
Yes, thank you very much, Babadi. Thank you very much, Mr. Mambu. I'm afraid we do not have enough time. Let's go for a quick break. We have another exciting discussion coming up with members of Parliament around the proceedings around Parliament as well. But thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining us this morning.